Voxxed is Vienna, a home of schnitzels and strudels.
Schnitzels and strudels, I think.
And I'm with Martin, who's talked about Java security.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm a Java developer, and I know that bytecode that I'm unsure of, I can run in a sandbox on the JVM. So apart from that, is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
good. So apart from that, what do I need to be aware of?
So typically every Java developer needs to be aware of how does the security sandbox model of the Java platform work. Apart from that, he needs to be aware of what security APIs are out there in the JDK and basically how to apply them properly in order to be able to secure his application properly as well.
Or her.
Or hers, if it's a lady, of course.
So how does the Java security sandbox work?
So in very general, the Java security sandbox works by first doing some kind of permission checking. You have to specify by default permissions in a security policy file, which describes basically the permissions in a domain-specific language. And after that, basically the security manager takes the responsibility to do that permission checking behind the scenes. If you are developing a Java application server or another kind of Java managed environment such as OSGI, potentially you may need to do some additional permission checking on top of what does the JVM do by default.
So it's important to know how the security manager works, and then you can just trust it to do its thing.
Well, absolutely. Every Java developer should be aware of how does the security manager work in order to properly set up basically what's needed for his application to run in an environment with the security manager installed. Apart from that, as we already mentioned, it's an essential knowledge to also know how does the Java security API works.
And are there any changes with Java 9 that people should be aware of?
So the biggest change which we developers expect in Java 9 is Project Jigsaw, which modularizes the Java platform. With that big change, essentially the security model will remain the same typically. However, there might be some changes like, for example, granting more permission to certain modules in the JVM and restricting permissions to others. But apart from that, developers should still be aware of the same security model as it is now today.
Will the security model work on a module basis then? Will it be per module or per application?
Yes, so typically basically security is implied based on the location of where the code is loaded from and potentially who is the user that executes the source code as defined by JAS. So as modules basically might be allowed the possibility to be loaded from different places. There can be a different set of permissions per module that could be set eventually. So this is one thing that that would be possible.
What are the key takeaways from your talk?
So the key takeaways from my talk are a few. Apart from the fact that developers would become more aware of how does the security sandbox model of the Java platform work, they also become more aware of what are the different APIs that they can use in order to provide security in their application. And last but not least, it's a set of several specific guidelines for the JDK that developers need to be aware of when they take into account the security sandbox model and the different supporting security APIs in the JDK.